If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Your support helps us bring you even more incredible real-life stories that leave you thinking long after the video ends. Now let's dive into today's story. It didn't happen because I did something terrible. It happened because my sister Freya threw a tantrum, a loud dramatic emotional explosion in the living room that evening, crying, shouting, accusing me of ruining her peace, always being a problem and making the house toxic. I stood there confused. I hadn't argued with her. I hadn't touched her things. I hadn't even spoken to her that day, but she was angry about something else in her life and I became the easiest target. My parents didn't ask questions, they didn't investigate. They didn't try to understand. They just reacted to the noise. My dad Noah turned to me and said, "If you can't live peacefully here, maybe you shouldn't live here at all." I looked at him. What did I do? He waved his hand dismissively. "You always create tension. Your sister Freya's crying. That's enough. That's enough. No proof, no discussion, no fairness. Just the loudest person wins." My sister Freya stood there pretending to cry harder, but I could see it in her eyes. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew our parents would side with her. She knew I wouldn't fight back loudly. She knew I would take it quietly, and she was right. My mom Lily added, "Maybe some time away will be good for everyone." Time away, as if I was the problem that needed to be removed from the house. I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said calmly. They expected resistance. They expected an argument. They expected me to defend myself. I didn't. I went to my room, pulled out a bag and started packing clothes. My hands were steady. My mind was clear because for the first time I realized something important. I didn't belong in a place where noise mattered more than truth, where emotions mattered more than fairness, where the quiet person was always assumed to be guilty because they didn't shout. As I walked past the living room with my bag, my sister Freya avoided eye contact. My dad Noah didn't look at me. My mom Lily said, "Call when you reach wherever you're going." I stopped at the door and looked back. Not with anger, not with tears, just with understanding. They thought they were removing a problem. They had no idea they were removing the person who held the house together quietly. "I will," I said softly, and I walked out, not knowing where I would go, but knowing I would not come back. The same person. The first night out of the house was strange, not painful, not dramatic, just quiet. I stayed at a cheap guest house with a small bed, a noisy fan, and a window that didn't close properly. I sat there with my bag on the floor and realized something unexpected. I felt lighter, no tension, no walking carefully, no emotional landmines, no sister Freya waiting for an excuse to explode. No parents ready to believe the loudest version of the story. Just silence. The next morning, reality kicked in. I had limited money, no long-term plan, and no place to go. But instead of panic, I felt clarity. If they believed I was the problem, I would become the solution for myself. I started calling old contacts. A friend helped me find a small room for rent. Another connected me to a short freelance project. Nothing big, nothing glamorous. But it was mine. I worked during the day, learned at night, watched videos, read articles, built skills. I had always postponed because family responsibilities came first. For the first time in my life, my time belonged to me. Weeks turned into months. I stopped thinking about the house. I stopped replaying the mom Lily and they asked me to leave. I stopped expecting an apology because something inside me had shifted. I wasn't trying to prove them wrong anymore. I was trying to build a life where their opinion didn't matter. Meanwhile, small changes started happening back home. I didn't know this at first. I learned later my sister Freya's tantrums didn't stop. After I left, they increased because I wasn't there to absorb them quietly. My parents started facing what I had been silently handling for years. Her moods, her demands, her drama bills were missed. Things weren't organized, arguments became frequent. The house that felt peaceful after I left slowly became chaotic. But I wasn't there to see it. I was busy building. 6 months later, I had stable work. 1 year later, I had savings. I had confidence I had never felt before. I spoke differently, walked differently, thought differently. I wasn't the same person who walked out with a bag. Then one evening my phone rang. It was my mom Lily. Her voice sounded tired. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm good," I said calmly. There was a pause. "We miss you." I didn't react emotionally. "I'm doing fine here." She sighed. Your sister Freya has been very difficult lately. I stayed silent for the first time. She didn't blame me for it. She didn't say I caused tension. She just said it's been hard without you. That sentence hit quietly. Hard without you. I remembered the night I left, the way they believed removing me would solve everything. I hope things get better. I said politely. She hesitated. You can come back if you want. Not because they understood, because they were overwhelmed, and I realized something important. They didn't want me back because they valued me. They wanted me back because they needed me, and that was no longer enough. I'm okay where I am, I said gently. Another long silence. Okay, she replied softly. When the call ended, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt free because for the first time I understood my worth wasn't tied to how much I tolerated. It was tied to how much I respected myself. A few weeks later, my dad Noah called. He didn't ask how I was. He said, "Come home, we need to talk." His tone was different, not authoritative, not dismissive, careful. I went. When I walked into the house, everything felt familiar but smaller. Somehow my mom Lily looked older. My sister Freya avoided my eyes. My dad Noah gestured for me to sit for a mom Lily aunt. Nobody spoke. Then he said quietly, "We made a mistake." I didn't rush to respond. He continued. "That night we didn't listen. We just reacted. We thought removing you would bring peace." I nodded slightly. It didn't. My mom Lily added, "It only showed us how much you were holding together without saying anything." My sister Freya finally spoke. "I shouldn't have done that. I was angry about other things. I used you." There were no excuses left, no blame shifting, just honesty. I looked at them calmly. I wasn't angry. When I left, I was clear. I understood that I didn't belong where I had to defend my existence. My dad Noah's eyes lowered. "We want you back." I smiled gently. I already have a home that surprised them, not because I rejected them, but because they realized I no longer needed them. "I'll visit." I added, "I'll stay connected, but I'm not coming back to live here." The room went quiet again, this time not with tension, with understanding. They had asked me to leave, thinking I was the problem. Now they understood I had been the quiet balance, and by the time they realized it, I had learned to build a life where I didn't have to carry that weight anymore. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching. I am glad to see you on my channel if you like the content. Your support means a lot to me and motivates me to create new videos. Thanks for watching.